So what I wanted to tell you was, Nicole, thank you so much for the suggestion you made the other day when we were talking about how to maybe encourage someone to start studying. And you know that's one of my goals, is that I would like to be able to teach my children this, and feeling that, I won't be able to until I have results to be able to show them. But I was talking, my daughter was over yesterday, and I had my picture of my disappointment and pity horses up. So she go, what is that? So, and I've been telling, she knows that I'm studying this stuff, and I talk to her every once in a while. And so I was able to that was kind of a lead in about, part of what I'm studying. But so I used your advice, Nicole, on talking about the reticular activation system.
Awesome.
And then how what you think about is what you see. And she had noticed this happened to her when she bought her new car. Her first car was a Cougar, and she'd never seen a Cougar before until she bought her car. And
That's a perfect example.
Right. So I gave her that example, and then she went, wow, that really makes sense. That was a good example, Mom. So I had said that I had started my studying because I watched the movie The Secret, and I said I would really like you to watch it sometime, and I have the book. And she said, give me the book, Mom. So she took the book home last night. I'm so happy.
You must be so excited. That's awesome.
I'm so happy.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and so she's going in now with a good attitude, rather than me saying, here, you need to read this book, and her going, well, no, I don't want to. Now she's doing it because she's interested, because of the example. So thank you so much, Nicole, for giving that idea to us.
That's awesome.
That's a brilliant result.
Yeah.
Well done.
It really is.
I can't wait to hear what she thinks of it.
I know, me too. Me too, because she's going through a really hard time right now. So there's lots of things that she was, crying about and so on. And so I was just going, this can't wait. This can't wait anymore. I have to try and get her to start studying. So it really worked.
That's so good.
Yeah. So thank you, Nicole. You're an awesome resource.
Thank you. Well,
so it looks like there's nobody else coming.
Yep. It's nearly 1:15, so I guess we should make a start.
Okay, I'll start reading.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Chapter 4, Autosuggestion, the medium for influencing the subconscious mind. The third step towards riches. Autosuggestion is a term which applies to all suggestions and all self-administered stimuli one's mind through the five senses. Stated in another way, autosuggestion is self-suggestion. It is the agency of communication between that part of the mind where conscious thought takes place and that which serves as the seat of action for the subconscious mind. Through the dominating thoughts which one permits to remain in the conscious mind, whether these thoughts be negative or positive is immaterial. The principle of autosuggestion voluntarily reaches the subconscious mind and influences it with these thoughts. No thought, whether it be negative or positive, can enter the subconscious mind without the aid of the principle of autosuggestion, with the exception of thoughts picked up from the ether. Stated differently, all sense impressions which are perceived through the five senses are stopped by the conscious thinking mind and may be either passed on to the subconscious mind or rejected at will. The conscious faculty serves, therefore, as an outer guard to the approach of the subconscious. Nature has so built man that he has absolute control over the material which reaches his subconscious mind through his five senses, although that is not meant to be construed as a statement that man always exercises this control. In the great majority of instances, he does not exercise it, which explains why so many people go through life in poverty. Recall what has been said about the subconscious mind resembling a fertile garden spot in which weeds will grow in abundance if the seeds of more desirable crops are not sown therein. Autosuggestion is the agency of control through which an individual may voluntarily feed his subconscious mind on thoughts of a creative nature, or by neglect, permit thoughts of a destructive nature to find their way into this rich garden of the mind. You were instructed in the last of the 6 steps described in the chapter on desire to read aloud twice daily the written statement of your desire for money and to see and feel yourself already in possession of the money. By following these instructions, you communicate the object of your desire directly to your subconscious mind in a spirit of absolute faith. Through repetition of this procedure, you voluntarily create thought habits which are favorable to your efforts to transmute desire into its monetary equivalent. Go back to these 6 steps described in Chapter 2 and read them again very carefully before you proceed further. Then, when you come to it, read very carefully the 4 instructions for the organization of your mastermind group described in the chapter on organized planning. By comparing these 2 sets of instructions with that which has been stated on autosuggestion, you, of course, will see that the instructions involve the application of the principle of autosuggestion. Remember, therefore, when reading aloud the statement of your desire through which you are endeavoring to develop a money consciousness, that the mere reading of the words is of no consequence unless you mix emotion or feeling with your words. If you repeat 1,000,000 times the famous Emile Coué formula, day by day, in every way, I am getting better and better, without mixing emotion and faith with your words, you will experience no desirable results. Your subconscious mind recognizes and acts upon only thoughts which have been well mixed with emotion or feeling. This is a fact of such importance as to warrant repetition in practically every chapter, because the lack of understanding of this is the main reason the majority of people who try to apply the principle of autosuggestion get no desirable results. Plain, unemotional words do not influence the subconscious mind. You will get no appreciable results until you learn to reach your subconscious mind with thoughts or spoken words which have been well emotionalized with belief. Do not become discouraged if you cannot control and direct your emotions the first time you try to do so. Remember, there is no such possibility as something for nothing. Ability to reach and influence your subconscious mind has its price, and you must pay that price. You cannot cheat, even if you desire to do so. The price of ability to influence your subconscious mind is everlasting persistence in applying the principles described here. You cannot develop the desired ability for a lower price. You and you alone must decide whether or not the reward for which you are striving, the money consciousness, is worth the price you must pay for it in effort. Wisdom and cleverness alone will not attract and retain money, except in a few rare instances where the law of averages favors the attraction of money through these sources. The method of attracting money described here does not depend on the law of averages. Moreover, the method plays no favorites. It will work for one person as effectively as it will for another. Where failure is experienced, it is the individual, not the method, which has failed. If you try and fail, make another effort, and still another until you succeed. Your ability to use the principle of autosuggestion will depend very largely upon your capacity to concentrate upon a given desire until that desire becomes a burning obsession. When you begin to carry out the instructions in connection with the 6 steps described in the 2nd chapter, it will be necessary for you to make use of the principle of concentration. Let us here offer suggestions for the effective use of concentration. When you begin to carry out the first of the 6 steps, which instructs you to fix in your own mind the exact amount of money you desire, hold your thoughts on that amount of money by concentration or fixation of attention with your eyes closed until you can actually see the physical appearance of the money. Do this at least once each day. As you go through these exercises, follow the instructions given in the chapter on faith and see yourself actually in possession of the money. Here is a most significant fact. The subconscious mind takes any orders given it in a spirit of absolute faith and acts upon those orders, although the orders often have to be presented over and over again through repetition before they are interpreted by the subconscious mind. Following the preceding statement concern the possibility of playing a perfectly legitimate trick on your subconscious mind by making it believe, because you believe it, that you must have the amount of money you are visualizing, that this money is already awaiting your claim, that the subconscious mind must hand over to you practical plans for acquiring the money which is yours. Hand over the thought suggested in the preceding paragraph to your imagination and see what your imagination can or will do to create practical plans for the accumulation of money through transmutation of your desire. Would someone else like to turn on line 141?
I can go if no one else wants to have a turn.
I can go.
Oh, I guess nobody heard me.
Let me see. Do not wait for a definite plan through which you intend to exchange services or merchandise in turn for the money you are visualizing, but begin at once to see yourself in possession of that money, demanding and expecting, meanwhile, that your subconscious mind will hand over the plan or plans you need. Be on the alert for these plans, and when they appear, put them into action immediately. When the plans appear, they will probably flash into your mind through the 6th sense in the form of an inspiration. This inspiration may be considered a direct telegram or message from infinite intelligence. Treat it with respect and act upon it as soon as you receive it. Failure to do this will be fatal to your success. In the 4th of the 6 steps, you were instructed to create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once to put this plan into action. You should follow the instruction in the manner described in the preceding paragraph. Do not trust to your reason when creating your plan for accumulating money through the transmutation of desire. Your reason is faulty. Moreover, your reasoning faculty may be lazy, and if you depend entirely upon it to serve you, it may disappoint you. When visualizing the money you intend to accumulate with closed eyes, see yourself rendering the service or delivering the merchandise you intend to give in return for this money. This is important. Summary of instructions. The fact that you're reading this book is an indication that you earnestly seek knowledge. It is also an indication that you are a student of this subject. If you are only a student, there is a chance that you may learn much that you did not know, but you will learn only by assuming an attitude of humility. If you choose to follow some of the instructions but neglect or refuse to follow others, you will fail. To get satisfactory results, you must follow all instructions in a spirit of faith. The instructions given in connection with the 6 steps in the 2nd chapter will now be summarized and blended with the principle covered by this chapter as follows. First, go into some quiet spot, preferably in bed at night, where you will not be disturbed or interrupted. Close your eyes and repeat aloud so you may hear your own words. The written statement of the amount of money you intend to accumulate, the time limit for its accumulation, and description of the service or merchandise you intend to give in return for the money. As you carry out these instructions, see yourself already in the possession of the money. For example, suppose that you intend to accumulate $50,000 by the 1st of January, 5 years hence, that you intend to give personal services in return for the money in the capacity of a salesman. Your written statement of your purpose should be similar to the following. By the 1st of January of 2017, I will have in my possession 50,000, which will come to me in various amounts for time to time during the interim. In return for this money, I will give the most efficient service which I am capable, rendering the fullest possible quantity and the best possible quality of the service in the capacity of a salesman of describe the service or merchandise you intend to sell. I believe that I will have this money in my possession. My faith is so strong that I can now see this money before my eyes. I can touch it with my hands. It is now awaiting transfer to me at the time. And in the proportion that I deliver the service, I intend to render it in return for it. I am awaiting a plan by which to accumulate this money, and I will follow that plan when it is received. Second, repeat this program night and morning until you can see in your imagination the money you intend to accumulate. Third, place a written copy of your statement where you can see it night and morning, and read it just before retiring upon arising until it has been memorized. Remember, as you carry out these instructions, that you are applying the principle of autosuggestion for the purpose of giving orders to your subconscious mind. Remember also that your subconscious mind will act only upon instructions which are emotionalized and handed over to it with feeling. Faith is the strongest and most productive of the emotions. Follow the instructions given in the chapter on faith. These instructions may at first seem abstract. Do not let this disturb you. Follow the instructions, no matter how abstract and impractical they are. They may at first appear to be. The time will soon come, if you do as you have been instructed, in spirit as well as in act, when a whole new universe of power will unfold to you. Skepticism in connection with all new ideas is characteristic of all human beings. But if you follow the instructions outlined, your skepticism will soon be replaced by belief. And this in turn will soon become crystallized in absolute faith. Then you will have arrived at a point where you may truly say, I am master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Many philosophers have made the statement that man is the master of his own earthly destiny, but most of them have failed to say why he is the master. The reason that man may be the master of his own earthly stages, and especially his financial status, is thoroughly explained in this chapter. Man may become the master of himself and of his environment because he has the power to influence his own subconscious mind, and through it gain the cooperation of infinite intelligence. Okay, anybody else? Yes, nobody?
Kelly
I'll
might.
go.
Thanks, Kelly.
You are now reading the chapter which represents the keystone to the arc of this philosophy. The instructions contained in this chapter must be understood and applied with persistence if you succeed in transmuting desire into money. The actual performance of transmuting desire into money invokes the use of autosuggestion as an agency by which one may reach and influence the subconscious mind. The other principles are simply tools with which to apply autosuggestion. Keep this thought in mind. You will at all times be conscious of the important part of the principle of autosuggestion is to play in your efforts to accumulate money through the method described in this book. Carry out these instructions as though you were a small child. Inject into your efforts something of faith of a child. The author has been most careful to see that no impractical instructions were included because of his sincere desire to be helpful. After you have read the entire book, come back to this chapter and follow in spirit and in action this instruction. Read the entire chapter aloud once every night until you become thoroughly convinced that the principle of autosuggestion is sound, that it will accomplish for you all that has been claimed for it. As you read, underscore with a pencil every sentence which impresses you favorably. Follow the foregoing instruction to the letter, and it will open the way for a complete understanding and mastery of the principles of success.
Lovely. Let's head back to the start. So autosuggestion is the agency of communication between that part of the mind where conscious thought takes place and that which serves as a seat of action, the subconscious mind. He says from line 5. Really important.
A seat of action. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So all of our actions come from whatever we have programmed into our subconscious mind. So basically we don't have control over our actions. Our subconscious mind has control over our actions, but we do have the power to program our subconscious mind.
And to program ourselves to be aware of how we choose to respond.
We would
over
like,
time.
yeah, that it would be to program the subconscious mind to respond automatically in the way that we want it to by using autosuggestion. So for me, what I've realized recently is that first of all, we have to use autosuggestion to get this belief across that our subconscious mind is the controlling force, and we need to program our subconscious mind to get the results that we want. I think that is the main thing initially that we need to auto-suggest to ourselves, because if we don't have that belief, then auto-suggesting other things to ourselves won't work, because we won't have faith in the process. And he really points out a lot in this chapter that we need to have faith. Faith is the biggest thing for auto-suggestion to work. So what I've, and Christos as well, has decided to do recently is to auto-suggest the fact that the subconscious mind is what determines our actions and circumstances. Getting that really clear and grounding belief in our subconscious minds first, and then begin to auto-suggest the other things that we want in life. And
Question: What have you done? So what have you done? You have what have you done? This is a subconscious mind.
so I'll read to you what I've been auto-suggesting for the past week or so. My actions and circumstances are the result of my subconscious programming. So that is a core belief that we must program ourselves with. I program my subconscious mind, and I've changed this a little bit from our original. I've added in here with wealth, success, confidence, passion, and health to inspire the actions and circumstances I desire. So it's just a really basic. We started out with just saying my actions and circumstances are the result of my subconscious programming, and I program my subconscious mind to create the actions and circumstances I desire. That's a core belief that Christos and I have decided to embed in our subconscious mind. And from there, with that as a real core belief part of our being, we can then auto-suggest whatever we want, because there'll be no question, the faith will be 100%.
Okay, Nicole, do you mind reading that just a little slower so I can copy that down?
I can write it into the Skype group when we're finished if you like.
Okay, that'd be nice.
Yeah. So I've been really experiencing some kind of changes with doing that. I'm feeling more energy in myself, more purposeful, more belief in this whole process. Like I've always believed it, but now it's kind of a shift towards it just is. It's becoming more of a knowing. So I think we're on the right track. I think we're on the right track with embedding this first. And in actual fact, at the end of the chapter, he says, he's talking about reading the entire chapter aloud every night until you become thoroughly convinced that the principle of autosuggestion is sound. So before you even start auto-suggesting, I'm going to have the 50,000, he's telling us here in big, bold, capital letters to first become thoroughly convinced that the principle of autosuggestion is sound and that it will accomplish for you all that has been claimed for it. So I think, well, I believe now that this principle needs to be embedded first for other desires we want to achieve will be able to be embedded.
I absolutely agree. I think that's why, you know, we've been studying now for how long? Almost a year or 9 months or whatever.
Yeah.
And that might be a reason that none of us have achieved our $1 million goals, is because we may be telling ourselves consciously that we believe the process works, but obviously there must be something that's holding us back, and that could very well be it.
Yeah, because now I'm at the point where I don't want to misremember, because what we've committed to doing is 3 times a day getting into a quiet state to calm the conscious mind, because like he says in this chapter, the conscious mind is the guard to the subconscious mind. It doesn't like to let things in. So you're getting in that sleepy state just before going to sleep, and as soon as you wake up, and maybe one other time during the day, well, we are definitely one other time during the day getting into like a meditative kind of a state, and then repeating the auto-suggestion. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry.
I have a question I'd like to ask, get some feedback on. I've been having, even reading this, and listening to this part, about the instructions of what to do, to where it starts on the steps, basically where it starts on 181 for my mind went blank. The wanting to be able to, I started having this thoughts about translating the example where it talks about, as a salesman, in terms of, and translating it to being whatever role or whatever position or thing that you desire to be presenting. And I had been having some urging thoughts this morning. Oh, I gotta do this, and it has to do with a desire that I've been talking about and thinking about, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I got to do this. And is that equivalent to what burning desire is? And in order that the fact that is showing up, that makes this that much more meaningful. It makes sense. It's like getting a clear sense of, okay, and being able to put it all in alignment together.
That sounds to me like what he's talking about in line 144. Once, I don't know whether you're demanding and expecting your subconscious mind to bring up the plans or the impulses for action, but when you get those impulses for action, he's talking about here, put them into action immediately, because these are the flashes that will come up into your conscious mind from the subconscious to put the thing in place that you've been focusing on. So this is how the subconscious then delivers to you the avenues to get the things done. So once you've implanted the thing into your subconscious mind, it has endless resources. It taps into universal consciousness. So whatever you plant in there, it will then start delivering up to your subconscious mind little urges to do something, or little bits of information to direct you to a book or to a person, or, you know, that sounds like that's what's happening there.
Yeah, it makes me think about too that maybe it's an answer to something I had been contemplating before I went to bed. It's like, okay, I've been the last few evenings, it was like, or especially yesterday night, it was just like, okay, so how can I solve this, you know, this situation, this, you know, and, you know, what's it going to take? And then, you know, this morning, today, and it was like, you know, okay, I got to take this action.
Yep.
Even though in my mind, it's like, I don't know how in the world this can all work out in the way that I've been thinking, in the way that it's reasoning to me. But I guess that doesn't matter as much as it is that's important of actualizing what it is that burning desire is, and allowing the universe to support you.
So we're in line 159, it says, do not trust your reasoning when creating your plan. Black and white. Don't listen to that voice. Just follow what that urge was.
Well, I was thinking also, you know, I was like, you know, Rooney, he's been a really good contribution to some fine examples of, you know, how to, it's kind of like basically playing with the, you know, it's like you've got these different thoughts and stuff going on. Like when I was sharing on the forum once about, you know, sharing some poetry or something like that, and he was sharing an example of a way I could take and expand that into a story even in itself, and it was like, oh my gosh, I gotta think some more about like that, you know, and that you know, ignite that imagination to play with it, and so that's part of in being an invitation to you know, be doing the creative expression that wants to be expressed through me. It's kind of fun.
You know, it sounds to me like you're overthinking it.
I have to work at that overthinking. So what's the antidote to overthinking?
No,
Action. Action.
No, it's not. It's not. Look,
Huh?
the whole point is the reason you got the answer is because you relaxed. You were asleep. Right? When we sleep, we're no longer resisting any thoughts that are coming from infinite intelligence. It just flows to you. So when you ask the question before you fall asleep, and you said you've been doing it for a while now, when you finally get the answer, don't question it. It's like Nick said, it's in black and white. Your reasoning faculties are not worth a penny with things like this. It makes no sense whatsoever. If you're a scientist, that's different, because you're working with molecules and you're working with protons, electrons, quarks, and all the rest of it. But this is not what we're doing here. This is not how this works. So you've gone to sleep, you've woken up, and you've got an answer because you are not resisting. As soon as you wake up, you start resisting. What you've got to do is stop resisting. How do you stop resisting? You relax into it. You just let it be. You cannot consistently ask, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Because when you are asking that, you're resisting and you're not getting answers. So if you imagine, it's like having a salesman on the door and you said, good grief, I really need that new vacuum cleaner. You know, I really need it. And you've got a guy knocking on the door and you think, oh, you know, I don't want to answer that because I want to look on the internet for a really cool vacuum cleaner, one that's cheap and so on. What you don't know is that the guy that's knocking on the door is there to give you a really good deal on an absolutely brilliant vacuum cleaner, but you're not listening because you're resisting, because you're trying to force the answer by looking on the internet to try and find your vacuum cleaner. And your answer is at the door, but you're not doing it. You're not answering it.
It's like putting the logic aside.
Yeah,
not allowing it to be.
Katie, what I do is I play more with it. Sorry.
You just got to push everything aside, because what you've got to do is you've got to get yourself in a state of relaxation, in the sense that you got to relax, your body as well, but the main thing is your mind. Because when you've got thoughts running through it constantly, you're constantly resisting. The minute we wake up, the majority of us are resisting. And you've got to get yourself in that state of mental relaxation. This is what meditation does, right? It gets you into a state of mental relaxation, because what you're doing is that you're clearing your mind, you become the observer of all your thoughts, and you just let things go by, and it doesn't bother you, and you just let it go. That is what meditation's for. When you go, it's like pride going. As soon as you wake up and prior to going to sleep, it's a little bit different. It's not a meditative state. It's the date, and it's the part of the day where you can create the best time for auto-suggestion for your subconscious mind to get it in there. And that's why Nick and I have been doing this first thing in the morning, last thing, just before we go to sleep, because that's the best time to auto-suggest you and things to your mind. I've got the paper next to my bed, so as soon as I wake up, I turn my head, or I just open my eyes, and it's right there. Just before I fall asleep, it's right there. Switch off the lights, and I'm gone. Now, when you're getting the answers, don't start questioning them. It's like when Rooney starts putting all his points and everything else on there. You might get a little thing on there from the whole that means a lot to you, but you want to continue reading the rest, and you ignore the little bit of inspiration because you want to read the rest. It's there. Rooney's not going to take it off. It's there for you to read anyway. But the minute you get that inspiration, go and deal with the inspiration, because that didn't come from nowhere. That came from infinite intelligence. That's how we're spoken to. That's where we get it from. That's why it's there. So Rooney gets his inspiration for all his poems, and for him, if you ask him, he'll tell you, yeah, it just flows. I'll just get it and I'll just type it. That's because he's not putting any resistance into it. He thinks about what he wants to put down, and then all of a sudden he'll go, and he'll start, and he just acts on it. This is what he was going to say. As soon as he gets that inspiration, he begins to act on it. Okay.
So that's the difference of being engaged, embracing, being engaged and one with that inspiration, as opposed to anything else being in the way.
Well, no, you see, this is the whole point. Don't be anything. As soon as you get the inspiration, you do it. That's it. You get that idea, do it. Act on it. Don't try to reason it. It's like when someone says, and this is what Nick was just saying, when you're walking down the street and all of a sudden you get told, you get this inspiration to go into a shop, and you think, why am I going to go into a cake shop? I don't want any cakes. I'm on a diet. And you just keep walking. But what you've just missed is a perfect introduction to someone. You've just walked in there, and they might have some gluten-free, sugar-free cakes, but they don't advertise them, And it could be that the person behind there, you say, oh, wow, I didn't know you did this. Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And you get on into a conversation, and the conversation builds into something else. And you've just found someone that you can talk to. Now, by walking past because you think to yourself, that doesn't make any sense, you've missed that little bit. And this is a part of inspiration and instincts. This is about listening to your instincts and actually just doing it. And the way that I look at it is, what have I got to lose? I don't really care whether I go in there and someone says to me, what an idiot. I don't care, because I've just gone in there and I've followed my instinct, because I trust my instinct. I've trusted my instinct for a long time, and it has always proven me right. And sometimes you just think, things are going weird. It's like today, my partner didn't fill up the car. I thought, for crying out loud. Anyway, I thought, right, better go and fill up the car. So I drove in, and as I'm driving in, I see this car standing there and two young gentlemen looking at the petrol pump, because you've got to put money in, you've got to press the button so you can use a petrol pump. And I thought to myself, you guys have no idea how to use that. So I pulled up, and guess what? They didn't know how to use it. So I showed them how to use it. Now, this happens to me consistently, not every now and then, consistently, that I might have left home a little bit late or a little bit early. I might have been delayed at work, or I've been able to leave work early, and I've come across something that I've been able to help someone with something as small as picking up an orange, you know? And this happens consistently. Why? Because I just let things be. I don't overthink them. And I'm always coming across these situations, and this is the whole point. This is how it's meant to be. So the minute you stop resisting, things start to flow more. The resistance is in the subconscious mind because of the programming that we've had in the past. And because of the programming in the past, there's things that we need to, don't like using this word, but it's in a sense true. These things that we need to unblock and reprogram. So we program our subconscious mind to the way that we want it to work. And acting on your instinct and removing, not removing blocks, having no resistance is also part of the subconscious.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, so making the decision to trust that urge when it comes up. So make the decision now to yourself, right, next time I get an urge, I'm just going to act on it. I'm not going to reason about it and have conversations in my head about it. I'm just going to act on it and see what happens, and give it a chance to follow through to its fruition, to see how it pans out. And then once you do that a few times, you'll get to the point where you'll have some memories, like Christos was just saying, where he's listened to it and something small but significant has happened, and then you just learn to follow that when it happens. So
Do you
just
usually respond to it right then?
Yeah, immediately.
Mm.
Yeah, before
Okay.
you have the chance for that
Or
monkey
do anything
mind
else.
to jump in and say, oh, but this could happen and that could happen and blah, blah, blah. And then it goes away and you forget that you even had the little impulse.
Or even doing anything else.
Yeah. So you've missed an
Learning that
opportunity.
one. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's not just like that. If you don't act on it there and then, it's you lose momentum. Whereas as soon as you've got that inspiration, you've got the momentum, and you say, yeah, I want to do this. And the minute you do it, it's like, yeah, I want to do this even more. And you keep the momentum going. And that is what keeps it going, really, is when you lose momentum in doing something, it begins to slow down and you can actually die. And that little bit of inspiration that you were given to actually do something has gone. And it's gone forever. That little bit. You'll get another one. You know, people say, oh, you know, things only happen once in a lifetime, once bit of like rubbish. These things happen on all the time. Okay, you're getting little bits of inspiration on a consistent basis when you are relaxing, and you don't even realize that you've just relaxed, and you're not resisting anymore. And you've got that little bit of inspiration. You have to act on it, because the minute you act on it, you get motivated to do even more. And it's a self-motivation. You don't need someone out there to try and motivate you. You are yourself motivated then, and you keep yourself going.
Talking about momentum, when he's talking here about how hard it is to get ourselves to be so persistent in doing this 3 times a day in a relaxed state, when you start, like with this new auto-suggestion that Christos and I have been using, about just planting in the mind the fact that we need to do auto-suggestion and the subconscious mind will cause our actions to bring about what we want. When you start to feel a little bit different and you start to see the results of that starting to actually make you feel different and cause reality to be even just slightly different just through little things happening and just the way you feel about things, you don't want to stop. It becomes so much easier to do it because, oh my goodness, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I haven't done the midday, I'm going to go and find a spot to be quiet and go and do it because I don't want to miss one, because the momentum that's happening and the changes that I'm feeling are so awesome that it's not like I need to force myself to do it anymore. It's like I don't want to miss a session of doing it, and I'm also talking it through my mind at any possibility. The other day I was driving in the car on my own, so I was saying it out loud. So because I'm starting to feel some results from it, I'm really way more enthusiastic about doing it, and I'm doing it even more than is recommended. And so the persistence gets easier and the momentum starts to pick up, and it just starts to get that much easier. And I wish I'd learnt that a long time ago. In line 144, he's talking about demanding and expecting. So, and I know he talks in a lot of his talks about telling your subconscious mind who's boss. So if we do it in a way of demanding and expecting the results, then it gives the subconscious mind a little bit more direction and something a bit more meaty to work with, I guess.
I remember, he talks about when he wanted to get the title for the book, Think and Grow Rich, and he started shouting at himself. He started shouting at himself so much that his neighbors in the flat above thought that he was arguing with his wife. And it reminds me of the opera singer, and I forgot which one it was. And he did the same thing, where he started telling his big me, his small me, to get out of the way of his big me. I wanted to let the voice out. And I thought to myself, there appears to be some, there is an obvious similarity there, and a possible, what's the word I'm looking for now? Pattern. Thank you. There's a pattern there, which is when you want to get something out of your subconscious mind and you need it right now, find a corner where nobody can hear you and start shouting at yourself, at your subconscious mind, and demand an answer. Now, there are other ways, because in Joseph Murphy's book, there's one gentleman that says he asks a question, and to get the answer, he says, answer. He demands the answer from his subconscious mind, but he's not shouting, he's speaking. So I guess there are times when you've got to find yourself within yourself in the point of being able to demand from your subconscious mind the answer to what you want, and you'll get it each and every time. And I think it's finding ourselves in that belief that we can't get it. And like Nick says, this is why we're doing this. It is because we realized that when it comes to autosuggestion, it's one of the root causes why people fail, is because even though we know this works and we believe it works, we don't really have that much faith in it, because we question it. And we know we question it because when you try and do something, you've got that little bit of doubt somewhere in the back of your mind. It's like, but that's not going to happen. But at the same time, we know that it has to happen, because the origin of everything, of all matter, is a thought. So the minute you have that thought, it has already been created, because you are the origin of that thought. So it makes sense that it has to be created. It already has been. So if you think, I want 50 million, or you're thinking 50 million, you've already thought it. And because you've already thought it, you have already created it, which means it's already in existence. However, because our faith and our belief in autosuggestion and in the subconscious mind is not 100%, there is a doubt. And this is why he says, and this is why Nick and I are doing this, and in the book he says, read the chapter until you know that autosuggestion works. It's not, a lot of people don't get this. They look and they say, yeah, I know it works, but they don't really have that 100% faith that it does, because the minute you do, everything falls in place. And he already says in the chapter that everything else within the book is orientated towards getting that auto-suggestion, the subconscious mind, in believing that whatever you think about, you can bring about.
So auto-suggest, auto-suggestion.
Auto-suggest to auto-suggest.
Yeah. Auto-suggest that auto-suggestion works.
Hey guys, you've gone really quiet. Come on, someone's got to be thinking something. Bill?
I'm barely thinking.
Bill's just finished work.
Yeah, I had to do something that's started at 2:30 my time, and it didn't end until about 3:30, 20 to 4 my time, which is only 20 minutes ago. Should have only taken 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, what is the affirmation that you and Christos are doing?
So we're saying, I've changed mine a little bit and added some words in, but basically it's, well, I'll tell you what it was to start with, and then I'll tell you what I've changed it to. My actions and circumstances are the result of my subconscious programming. I program my subconscious mind to inspire the actions and circumstances I desire. So getting that core belief in first, and then moving on to auto-suggesting things like what Napoleon Hill's suggesting here, like I want 50,000 within 5 years later. So getting this core belief fully embedded in the subconscious mind. So what I've changed mine to now, I've been doing this for a little bit, I've added in a couple of things to auto-suggest with it. My actions and circumstances are the result of my subconscious programming. I program my subconscious mind with wealth, success, confidence, passion and health to inspire the actions and circumstances I desire. And while I'm doing it, I can see in my mind the visualization that I've had for a very long time at the house that I want, with the people I want, feeling no stress because I've got plenty of money, feeling healthy, being active. So I'm seeing that as I'm saying it as well. So I've incorporated a bit more with it now, but originally it was just pure and simply, my actions and circumstances are the result of my subconscious programming, and I program my subconscious mind to inspire the actions and circumstances I desire. So
And you doing that in the morning and at night?
Yeah, and also once in the middle of the day, or I'm doing it just when I finish work, I'll sit down and get quiet for just 10 minutes and do it then. And I'm just repeating it to myself at whatever opportunities. Like if I'm driving in the car, I'll say it out loud so I can hear it, because usually I have people around me. I have to do it inside, and Napoleon says to do it out loud. So if I have the opportunity to do it out loud, I'll do it out loud. And I'm really trying to put the emotion in as well, especially when I'm talking about the wealth and success confidence part. I'm kind of taking on those emotions as I'm saying them. So I'm really doing my best to really apply all the elements I can, and I'm really giving it a really good, best of my ability shot to work, but just with that core basic belief. And then I believe once that is embedded, I'll be able to move on to pretty much auto-suggest whatever I want, because I'll have 100% faith.
That sounds good. Can you send me? Can you type it up in a Skype message to me?
Yep, I can put it in the. I'll put it in the TAGR Skype group.
Okay, great.
And everyone can have a copy of that.
That would be good. Thank you.
See, I'll do a little bit different, Nick. I'll do exactly the same in the morning and in the evening, because we know those are the best times.
Yep.
What I do is I've consistently got it going through my head. I haven't put the words in the way you have. I've used Joseph Murphy's way, which is just having the words running through your mind. Success, I've got health, success, wealth, serenity. Those are my 4 words. And I've got them running through my head. I use meditation for pure calmness of mind and clearance. And what I do is when I come out of meditation, that's when I do it as well, because that's where that I feel. That's what makes me feel good. And I think for you guys as well is that when you are doing your affirmations, and when you do write an affirmation, you've got to remember that it's got to be personal to you. It has to feel right. I've altered mine a little bit to Nick's from the beginning as well, and I've included words powerhouse and power base because they have a meaning for me. So there's words that are going to have meanings for every individual, and whatever those words are, trying to include them into your affirmations, because then it makes them personal to you, and your subconscious mind actually relates to that a lot better. So if you've got words like, let's call them keywords for lack of a better word, really, that you associate with a good affirmation, and when you look at it, you say, yeah, I can actually, I can really feel that, then there's got to be something about that affirmation that makes you really feel it. And it's the wording. It is the wording, because it's the wording that creates the vision within your mind and makes you feel that way. So when you do your affirmations, ensure that they're personal to you and do them in a way that works best for you. But, and this is a big but, is that the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes, those are, for Nick and I, those are our musts, because we know, and we've read, from everything we've read and everything we've heard, the first 5 minutes of the day, the last 5 minutes of the day are the most important minutes of your day, because before you go to the last 5 minutes before you go to sleep, that's when you feed your subconscious mind with an idea in which it continues to work through for quite a long time once you go to sleep. I've read that it is 4 hours. I've read somewhere else that it goes all the way through the night. Regardless, the fact is that those last 5 minutes of the day are crucial to changing anything that you want. So whatever you want to put into your subconscious mind, you put it in those 5 minutes at the end of the day. And for us, it's this saying at the moment, because we want to build that a good base, a good root system for every other affirmation that we will ever make from now on. And this is why, people say, oh, I can't manifest anything, or you get some people and they are manifesting it really, really easily. It's because they have that foundation quite solid. For some people it's easier, for others it's a little bit more difficult, and that's fine. We're all different. No two people are the same. So you've got to find that thing, those words that relate to you. And when you do, that's what you use. And you'll find the changes for you become a lot stronger and quicker.
You could just stick with the basic, I'll put both in the Skype group. We spent about half an hour getting this affirmation into a good format. It started off quite long because we had the general idea of what we wanted to implant, which is the belief that the subconscious mind creates all of our actions and our circumstances. And we played around with the wording quite a lot to make sure it was in present tense, to make sure we were covering everything, which actions and circumstances does, we think at the moment, cover everything. We used the word subconscious programming because we know that we were programmed from, well, they're saying now from 0 to 7 is your main core programming and your belief systems. And we did have in here, in the next part, I reprogrammed my subconscious mind. or actually I now reprogram my subconscious mind, and I've tweaked that to just I program my subconscious mind, because I thought, well, now I'm impressing the fact that I always have to be reprogramming. I don't want my subconscious mind to think that it will always need reprogramming. So I've just changed that to I program my subconscious mind. So whatever new desires or situations I want as I go through life, I just program those in. Once the old programming is fixed, which is still going to take a long time, I don't want to give my subconscious mind the thought that it's never going to be where I want it to be. It's always going to need reprogramming. So I changed that to I program. So there's some core elements in it that we worked quite a long time to get them right. But the words there that I've added in, wealth, success, confidence, passion, and health, put whatever, or you might want to leave those for a week and then put them in. It's up to you. But yeah, use things that work for yourself. But the main core elements of the auto-suggestion, we spent quite a long time getting those down.
Thanks. You said you put it into the TAGR study group?
I'm gonna do that at the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you said you did. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the that strikes me, when you were saying about first thing in the morning and first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes. Years ago, we had bought a program for my son, and I'm going back well over 25, 30 years about studying. And in that course, they were saying that the first thing you see or read when you're studying, and the last thing you see in a study session are the two things that you tend to remember the longest. And it's the same type of thing here. The last 5 minutes of your day is what stays in your subconscious the longest.
Yeah, when I read Neville Goddard's book, is it Feeling is the Answer or something like that? Feeling, everything is feeling, or the one that says feeling in the title. He has a lot of essays. He is a big believer in your last thoughts before you go to sleep actually molds the whole following day. So once you've those last thoughts, that's it. That's your decisions made for the following day. You don't have any control till you go to sleep again, and use those last few minutes before you drop off to sleep to tell your subconscious mind, who you want to be.
I have a really good example of that, of the flip side of the benefits that come if you're consciously, planting the seeds. It's like I had been wanting to. I basically was taking time out of my day to reach out to a friend in need, and needed compassion and empathy. And so all of my energy went towards and for that person in the situation and the like, and I found myself swimming in my mind and contemplating of the afternoon and the evening that I had taken and engaged all of my energy into with this, and doing whatever else that I was doing and being supportive. And I fell asleep having contemplated all this, and then I wake up the next morning and my mind is swimming again. It was like all of this, and it was like the whole day. It kind of reset the day to not necessarily being on a directed direction, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is teaching me an opportunity also to recognize the value of having some structure planned into place so that I can go back. So like the next time that happens, where I include into my day or my experience that it's scheduled, that I can engage and participate, but then I know that I have another thing that I'm going to be tuning my focus back into, so that I don't be swimming like that. Like, whoa, it was like out of control in terms of, having this, what they're talking about here, to be able to rule your world.
Yeah, so that's the other area that we're really focusing on too, is really policing our thoughts. because you just get so busy with what you're doing, you forget to think about what you're thinking about. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's exactly what happened. It was like, because there was nothing wrong with my reaching out and doing something else for, you know, being a contribution to the community. But yet I have to get back into that, you know, doing for me too, and having that be my primary focus before going to sleep. That's a good point.
Yeah, and the things work better when you're in a positive state of mind too. So everything works better in the body and in your mind when you're positive. So if you can keep your thoughts to the positive, keep your perspectives to the positive, your expectations to the positive, and your thoughts of other people always in the positive, be unassuming completely all the time. Always think that the other person has the best interests happening. Then you know, doing all of those things helps to keep, and Napoleon Hill's a big advocate for having a positive mental attitude, because all these other things work better in that environment of your
So
mind.
how do you manage? Do you manage, you know, when you want to, you know, have something integrated into your day that isn't necessarily, I mean, you know, when you have something that you're putting into your day that isn't necessarily something that's a common thing that you're doing, but it consumes all of your energy, and then you just take, when you, it's just to schedule it and just kind of to redirect your mind back to where you need to be
Yeah, it's
in
just
order to
constantly
have that.
redirecting, constant redirecting.
Okay.
And you get better at it. Like it's like a muscle where it seems to get stronger and you get better at it, and then you don't find yourself drifting back into the solution finding and problem.
And it doesn't mean that you did anything wrong, or there was no right or wrong in it. It's just a matter of taking and really structuring the mind in a directional way.
Well, it's awesome when you notice it, because you realize that you're growing, and now you're not just doing it, you're actually noticing it. So that's a huge step in itself.
Okay, that's a big step.
That's a pat on the back.
Yeah.
I caught myself 20 times today. I only caught myself 5 times yesterday. I mean, I'm getting better.
Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better.
Yeah.
Cool. Good conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was able to join it.
In this chapter for me is going to be reading the chapter again and having to have the faith that autosuggestion is going to work. That it actually,
Great.
Yeah, I think that's going to be my next step.
Cheryl, make it that auto suggestion works, not is going to work.
Right. Okay. Good point, Bill.
Redirect.
Good point.
I will implement this. Definitely.
Or not I will implement this, I do it.
Right.
I do it and I be it.
Yeah.
Be one with it. Yeah.
Don't phrase things for the future. Okay? And always phrase things in the present and in the positive.
Yeah, good point, Bill. It's an old habit, isn't it?
Yeah?
So I can sense a quantum leap happening here.
Yeah. And I've just kind of, as you were talking about your affirmation, and then Chris was talking about making it work for yourself, I can just see, because I don't have a plan yet, right? And that's something that's always been in the back of my mind, was I don't know what my purpose is. I don't have a plan. So that my affirmation is going to be that I program my subconscious mind with health, wealth, success, confidence, and passion to inspire the plan required to achieve my desires. So that's what mine's going to be.
Yep. Actually, there's something in this chapter I thought about you. He says, he's talking about the plan. Let me find it.
The plan doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere in.
This is not the first time he says it.
No, I know. Starting in line 201 or something, somewhere around there. In return for this money, I will give the most efficient service.
Yeah.
Where you were thinking about it, Nicole?
No, he actually says you don't need a plan. Straight out.
That's right. She's right. You see, the thing is, when you start out on whatever you do, you don't. Like when I started all of this out and I started thinking about plans, and it says, "Oh, you got to have a plan." And I was thinking, how on earth am I going to put a plan together? And I thought, right, well, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and I started to get a headache. I thought to myself, "Ooh, that's a lot of planning." I kept reading on, and it says, "Well, you don't really need to have a plan." I thought to myself, "Why didn't you tell me that earlier?" Because I've now got a headache, and I've been trying to figure it out. The point is that you take it a step at a time. So you see, the whole point of living is to live a life of joy. So that is your main purpose, right? Is to live a life of joy. That's it. It's as plain as simple as that. Now, you can say, right, what do I need to do to live a life of joy? Well, I want financial freedom. That tick, right? What else do I want to do? What do I enjoy doing? And that you look at it. So believe it or not, that's actually a plan. That is a plan. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to be able to do in my life. I want to travel. I want to take photographs of mountains. I want to go deep sea diving. I want to do it. I don't want to go deep sea diving. No. Anyway, so you just have a look and you say, this is what I want to do, and that is the start of your plan. The next thing you've got to do is, and this is what I realized, people that want to be rich and they don't really care what they do. What they want to do is financial freedom, make money. See, for me, that wasn't enough, because I said, yeah, I want the financial freedom, but for me, I need to do something that is congruent with my spirit and my soul, that makes me feel good. Now, we all give a service. It doesn't matter what job you do, where you are, what you do. Everybody does a service. A housewife, she does a service because she's doing the house. Her job is the house, right? She is a housewife. She's still providing a service. The girl behind the till, she provides a service. The waiter or waitress, they provide a service. Everybody provides a service, regardless of what you do. Everybody provides a service, and this is what it means. So it could be that, it's like the guys that deal in shares. They provide a service. They deal with shares for everybody else, for the whole world. That is still a service. Some people might look at someone and say, "Oh, how is he providing a service? It's all about himself or herself." Well, actually, it can't be, because they're getting paid for a service that they're providing, regardless of what it is. And that's what it boils down to. So, what is it that you want to give? And one of the things that I remember getting told was, what is it that you want to be remembered for? So, I think, did Rooney bring this up about, you're in your deathbed and you look back and you think, "Oh, I've done this in my life, I've done this in my life." That's a brilliant game to play, actually. When you're lying there and but you're not in your deathbed. You're 5 years from now, you're 10 years from now, saying, "Right, I've achieved this, I've achieved this." And you just play a game with yourself and you say, "Right, I've done this. And all of a sudden you think, "Oh, now that would be something to do." And that is your inspiration. And that is what you go for. And then you might, once you've got that inspiration, something else might come along, and that's fine. You don't, once you've got one idea, you work on it, and then another idea may take over, and that's fine. You go with the flow, and eventually you'll find yourself at a point where you say, and nothing more comes, because you've reached it. You found your path, you found what you want to do, and that is your plan. There is no plan, and that's the whole point behind it. Don't force it. If you don't have a plan, you don't have a plan. Don't force it. You just say to yourself, right, what do I need to do? And we start with the subconscious.
So he talks about visualizing any of those things that you decide you want. And from line 132, he says just to visualize that and he's talking about money, but it can be whatever. It can be spending time with your family that you don't get to do, that you really want to do. So visualizing that it's already waiting your claim, that the subconscious mind must hand over to you practical plans for acquiring the money or whatever it is, which is yours. And then it says, hand over the thought suggested in the preceding paragraph, which is knowing that your subconscious mind is going to hand the answers over to you, and see what your imagination can do or will do to create practical plans for the accumulation of money or whatever it is through transmutation of the desire. Do not wait, in capital letters, for a definite plan through which you intend to exchange services or merchandise in return for the money you are visualizing, but begin to see yourself in possession of it, demanding and expecting, meanwhile, that your subconscious mind will hand the plan over to you. So that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm hoping to achieve for myself, is demanding and expecting that the plan is going to be handed over to me.
Yeah. And then he says, be on the alert for the plans and put them into action immediately.
Right. And there was one thing I wanted to mention to you guys. At the bottom of that, or at the end of that paragraph, it says, failure to do this will be fatal to your success. I thought that was a little extreme. Not that it was fatal to your existence, but in my listening to Abraham, he says that if you miss an opportunity, it's not the end of the world, because you'll be given more and more and more until you find the one that you like or that you want to act upon. So I thought this was a little bit extreme.
What line was that?
This was line 153.
Yeah, I think he might be talking more about the auto-suggestion. If you have something that you want to accomplish, if you don't plant that into your subconscious mind, if you're not persistent with the auto-suggestion to get it in there, you won't succeed in doing that particular desire.
Maybe.
Oh, he's talking about respect. Treat it with respect. That's what he's emphasizing. Failure to do this will be fatal to your success. So there's probably some more to that.
As soon as you receive it. So
Yeah.
So yeah, he is talking about the flashes of impulse.
yeah, and maybe
Okay.
never take action. That will be fatal to your success.
Yeah.
That it did strike me that Abraham says, don't worry about it if you miss one.
They're
Exactly.
talking more about general happiness. They're not he's talking here about financial big plans.
It's a different aspect, huh? Sounds like then.
It is. What you got to remember is that when Napoleon put all of this together, he was putting it together for quick results. But if you want to get wealthy quickly, do this. And this is why it says, if you miss this opportunity, it means that, yes, Abraham's right when it comes to, you will get other opportunities. But what he's saying is, if you miss this one, you're going to have to wait for the next one. So act on it. And then you'll get to where you want to get to quicker. And this is why he's put that there. It's the sense that, don't delay. It's so that if anybody has a tendency to procrastinate and think twice or anything like that, he's saying to them, don't. Get on with it. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we get the opportunities, again and again and again. Well, I've already said that today, but the thing is what he's telling us is, don't wait for the rest of it. Once you get it done, because that way you're going to get to where you want to get to a lot quicker. And that is why he put these principles together. They were completely designed for everyone. Once they've got them and they're actually using them to get from A to Z in a straight line and not in zigzags. And zigzags is basically, miss that opportunity, go for the next one. Go miss that opportunity, go for the next one. He said to you, don't miss opportunities. Once you get them, go for them.
Yeah, and if we're not treating those little sparks of inspiration with respect, you're probably not going to listen to any of them, and then you will fail.
Exactly.
Not that there is any failure. I mean, you can't live life wrong, but if you're going for a definite chief aim and you don't listen to the inspirations, then you're not going to get the chief aim.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And just when he's talking about what we were talking about earlier with don't trust your reason when creating your plan, like we were talking about how you get the little inspiration and then your mind says, oh, but this, oh, but that. There are other times when using reason is beneficial. So don't just say, I'm not going to use my reason anymore. If you're in a situation where you come across something that could be a new belief, you could reason to yourself, well, I don't need to take that on as a belief because that's detrimental to my plan. You can choose to discard something through the power of reason. So there are times when you need to use your power of reason, but when you're getting those little inspirations and you can feel, Callie felt that it was like a surge of energy that made you want to actually physically go and do something, they're the ones that you want to listen to and not let reason get in the way.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay.
So but you felt the difference, didn't you? Like it was like a spark of energy that was like an impulse to do something.
Yeah, and I think because when I was, in that inspirational energy, I started singing, because it was just like, it was such a wonderful energy and feeling to be in that place and feel like, oh my goodness, this is like, here I had been witnessing, where there had been some disruptions in someone's life, and it was like, and then seeing how there were what people consider to be miracles being happening, and waking other people up, and then it was just like this reinforcement of the power of being able to be inspirational. And so it was like, I got to write my book. I got to do this, it's like, and so I just, and I had been, making connections with other people. And then when I come across some new people that have, are doing something that's inspiring and uplifting, and it's like reinforcement again. Okay, because it's my turn. It's my time. It's now. So it's like, and I didn't have to be hard about it or anything like that. But it is that sense of energy, like, oh my gosh, let's go for it. So, and then of course, I also had to kind of carry on doing some other things and other things that I had planned. So I still have to fit it in, so when we're done, I'm going to take the opportunity to do some writing and some brainstorming of some things that are coming up in my mind.
Yep.
Thank you. So that was the thing that, about, I've been really curious of how to implement this, auto-suggestion, that is in such a way, that, basically, like what you guys were talking about here, is just to, it's just to practice that of, restating, reaffirming in my mind. So, for example, given my circumstance where, I need to have something sustainable to become, to make it an easy transition for financial self-sufficiency. And the means in my mind is, well, being an entrepreneur, how can you do that being an entrepreneur? So I had to let that go, but it was like, okay, well, I let it go, and then this came up. So, well, okay, just write anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because I'm being reminded now that if I take and implement this auto-suggestion, this practice, and this exercise, then I'm going to have the universe on my back me up. Like, however it's going to come, be able to have faith in that. So it sounds like this is a great antidote to resolving that.
Yep. Well, I think it's about the shortest chapter and the most important, hey?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. So it is that auto suggestion that takes and reprograms our subconscious, and so that the alignment happens with reality.
I think every time I read a chapter, I think, oh, this is the most important. And then we read the next one, and I go, oh, no, this is the most important. So they're all pretty important. But today, this one feels really important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, have any of you have an experience you can share where this has brought fruition into your experience?
Well, it brings up ideas and realizations. And I think we've all had that.
Yeah, maybe. Recognizing it, I think, is something different. That I'm sure we've all experienced something, but sometimes we just don't recognize it for what it is.
Okay. So would you say more or less now there'd be more or less of having some recognitions and a greater enhanced awareness to get to that next level?
Yeah, true.
Okay. Cool. Every step counts.
Yeah, I think getting this belief embedded will make a huge difference. I think we'll progress faster from here.
I think so too, Nicole. I think you guys came upon a really good idea.
I remember the first time we went through this book and we got to this chapter, and I don't think any of us were still following the 6 steps from a couple of chapters before, I think, in faith. And I think the story is still the same this time.
A greater degree of awareness or understanding.
So yeah, if we can get this belief in, that might, next time we do the book, we might be in a different situation.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to be able to compare, hey?
Yeah.
There will be.
Alrighty.
Yep.
Thank you.
Sounds like the end. And thanks, everyone.
Yep.
Good call.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, have a good week, everybody. Talk to you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Likewise.
And it may not be on next week. I'm debating about doing the Bob's stream.
Oh, that's right. That's going on next weekend. I'm going to be participating in that too.
Okay, so should we make a decision whether we'll maybe not have the study next week? Cheryl, are you on that as well?
You know what? I haven't decided. I kind of don't think so, but but if everybody else is going to be gone, whatever the consensus is, I'm fine with.
All right. Should we put it out to the Skype group and see?
Yes, if you get enough response, if you get any response of anyone that wants to do it for next week. Otherwise, let's just continue the following week.
Yep. All right. Sounds good.
And, you've got just about, I think that from the last few weeks, this is the core group at this point.
Yeah.
The 5 of us, Rooney, and I don't know if there's been anyone else really.
Well, we've lost a few people that I've been wondering about lately, and then Kathy, has she been with us on Saturdays and Tuesdays?
She has missed a couple, but
been on and off on Saturdays, isn't it? She was for a while.
She religiously listens to the replays when she can't get on, but she's had family visiting and different things happening. But yeah, she has become part of the core group.
Yeah,
She's become more active, but just been more with family stuff going on.
Yeah, she's away on a trip to Canada right now, I believe.
Nice.
So yeah.
And so we get, somebody that pops in once in a while, but yeah, you're right, Bill.
I like how Christos put it last week. We've become concentrated.
Concentrated.
Well, I'm quite. If most of you guys are going to be on Bob's call next week, or the seminar, then we might as well just decide right now about next Saturday, if that's just.
Well, is everybody on this call going to be participating in that? Anybody else going to participate in that? I'm going to be, and Bill might be.
I don't think I'm going to be.
Okay.
Nope.
I'm not going to be on it, but I'm happy to hold off for a week and have the whole group there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
In fact, I wouldn't mind sleeping in for a Sunday morning, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Take a break. Just take a break. Let's take a break, and then that way we won't be missing
And what would be really nice is to come back in 2 weeks and talk about how this auto suggestion's working for us. 2 weeks would really make a difference, I think.
Alrighty, that sounds like the plan.
So will we make a commitment to do the auto suggestion 3 times a day?
Yes.
In a quiet state? Yep.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Excellent.
Yeah, sure.
All right, can't wait to see
the
results
that.
in 2 weeks. Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a successful one.
Bye-bye.
Good night,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.